I have an open-ended question for atheists and agnostics. When is anecdotal evidence turned into fact? Now, I know some of you are really quick. You're like, well, anecdotal evidence isn't fact. It's actually personal testimony. So the logicians out there, those of you that are so concerned with the framework, the precision of how we think, you're like, this is an act of futility to think about personal experience as ever becoming fact. I mean, that's what the Christians try to do. They try to tell us about their feelings of God as if those are facts, or they have some kind of experience in life where they think they've had an answered prayer or an encounter with God or something, and we can't trust those type of personal experiences, and that's why we've got the name, anecdotal evidence. But I am on a personal journey to find out where the voodoo, the witchcraft, the magic is at, that you can just sprinkle on anecdotal evidence and make it fact. I mean, I am running across this repeatedly, and so I'm looking for it, and if you could help me find this, please direct me further. So it would help to frame for you where I'm coming from. So let's start with the field of psychology. Okay, it's a legitimate field. You go get years of training to get your doctorate, to be able to work with human beings, so, for their betterment, for their mental health, to help them with life. And this field is full of information. And, we might as well just call this information fact, right? It's fact. We treat it as if it is utterly and completely real. So, for instance, we have labels, and here's the layman stepping into the picture, but we've got these labels of depression, PTSD, ADHD, and, as those of us who are afflicted with those things go into the office and get evaluated and calibrated, as we do, then we come out with this understanding that these are real things, they are real conditions. And so I have this question: where is the voodoo, the magic, the sprinkling of witchcraft, etc., that transforms a person's expression of what is going on inside of their mind into the reality of being one of those factual things of depression, PTSD, ADHD, etc.? When does it actually happen? So, if you consider the client that is walking into the office and they climb on the couch and they begin to unburden themselves and share the deeper things of their heart, is it their sharing that shows us that this is factual? And see, we can't go there. We wouldn't go there, because if a person is sharing, it's personal experience. Okay, so this thing, is it real? Okay. Or are these things real because a doctor can recognize them? Because he has the title, the authority to recognize it. Is it real? But in some senses, he's still just having a personal experience, right? He's got this person on his couch that's sharing about they have nervous energy, they're undisciplined, they have random thoughts, and so he goes, this person has ADHD. This is what they have. This is the reality. Is it when he checks off 3 items on his tablet and has made an assessment very carefully that it is now fact that this person has ADHD? Is that the way that works? I think we'd be careful there. If personal evidence or personal testimony doesn't work, from a person sharing it, then one person making the assessment, that doesn't make it factual either. This gets kind of difficult. So then, is it because several doctors agree? Is that what makes it real? Now, I am like you. I think if there's something, a real condition inside of a person, I think it's real, but that would be an assumption, correct? Isn't that my personal assumption or experience? Yeah, let's just say opinion about what would be going on there as well. Like, how do we get to the fact of the matter? When does it become factual where we put our trust in it? And this is one of the reasons I started with soft science, is because it's easy to understand that those things are very hard to pin down. You'll have a slew of doctors calibrating and evaluating people on all different sorts of spectrums, claiming they have this, that, or the other, or something new. And it's really hard to pin down. So let's shift over into hard science, but there's a reason I started with the soft science, so you can kind of see that there is some agreement that has to go on. So now, for the scientist, is something factual because the scientist says so? No, it isn't. Okay. Is it factual because a scientist repeated the experiment and it's the same? Well, now we're starting to get into, it's reliable, okay? It's if we can repeat it a bunch of times, it's reliable, but can one scientist state that it is fact? No, we can't go there. So let's make multiple scientists repeating the experiment. And at what point then does it go from being repeatable to actual fact? I'm looking for an exact percentage point. Now, I'm with you. I'm with you on this. You might not think so, but I'd walk around the camera and sit there on your side of the phone and look at this and go, yeah, I'm with you. Let's take gravity, for instance. I think it's repeatable. Yeah, it's repeatable. I could do it again, and everybody seems to have the same, experience with it, anecdotal experience with it. But every time we test it, it seems to be reliable enough to say that, yeah, gravity is a thing, and maybe to define and work out some of the limits of what it is, which obviously we have done. But my question then again, though, was how many scientists, how many experiments does it take before it becomes factual? Now, I'm with you. I believe that it is factual. But when did I believe that? When did you believe it? Was it 800 for me and 1,200 times for you? Was it 237 times for Frank and 487 times for Mark? How do we know when it transfers from being anecdotal evidence to being actual and real evidence? And here's the kicker. Of everything that we test or experiment with, as solid as gravity seems to be, do you realize that we just had 3i Atlas that was found like in the middle of last year? I came out of nowhere and then zipped past us and did things that we've never seen before in science. Overnight, science has to change the history books and what they're thinking about how these things react. And they're like, there's elements there that we don't understand, we don't know about. It's interacting with the sun and the earth in weird fashions. This is all brand new to us. So maybe the next asteroid that comes by does something that is so unique to gravity that it changes it in how we understood it, so much so that we even have to give it a new label. We'll call it the asteroid shift effect. That's really lame. So they'd come up with a cooler name than that. But once they come by, it would change everything that we knew about gravity. And so then, all of a sudden, everything that we thought was factual about gravity ends up kind of being in flux. Yet, again, you see, some of us have lived long enough to see actual science change, or the statements of the authorities change. So, for instance, when I was little, we were told about toxic waste can't really be well disposed of, and the half-life is going to be 300,000 years. I'm just making up large terms because I don't remember. It was just so far out in the future. I was like, we'll never even get there. Like, what are they even talking about? And yet today we find that bacteria eats toxic waste. Or they would say things like, plastic will never disintegrate. The half-life of plastic is like 500 years. But now, here after 2 or 3 decades, you dig up a plastic bottle and it's like, oh, that thing is definitely disintegrating. Or like the heavy push in the 70s, global cooling, global cooling, global cooling. And then it's like, well, things are changing. So global warming, global warming, global warming. And now things are back to like, oh, it's shifting so much. Climate change, climate change. Those of us that have been around a while see that science, which is what some of us consider the absolute bedrock of fact and factuality, can change and shift, and it's based off of conglomerated anecdotal evidence that can change in the blink of an eye. And if we really look at that, we know that at some point, we put our trust in it. Again, repeatable, great. I'm with you for putting your trust in science for the most part. Yeah, great. I trust a lot of what I'm told about science. Fantastic. It's repeatable. It helps us. Good. Awesome. I don't think it gets a rubber stamp to be completely authoritative, especially when it begins to logically clash with other serious elements of life. So I'm on this journey to try to find where the voodoo, the witchcraft, the magic is. And that's one of the reasons I'm asking some of you guys is, like, at what point, at what number, at what specific level does anecdote become fact for you? Or was it a choice, a personal decision to trust at some point? I guarantee you that's what it is. Some of you haven't done the philosophical background work deep enough to know, what your presuppositions are, nor have you done, let's say, the journaling background to go like, when did I first believe what I believed? When did I trust what I trust? And so, anyhow, the whole point of this boils down to, who are you putting your trust in? Who are you taking off your hat and throwing your hat in the arena with who? With those that say there really is no morality. Do as you please. Nothing's definite in the world of morals. I mean, you can fudge if you need to, or you can lie or distract or deceive or change a bit of information here or there because there's really no morality. Or do you want to put your hat in the arena with those that go, no, there's hard evidence out there, there's truth out there, there's facts out there, there's solidity to this universe, but I have to accept that by faith because it can't 100% be proven. I have to accept it. And once you figure out that both sides are presented anecdotally, and actually one side is a lot heavier with experience than the other smaller, very small side, if you're reasonable, you might come to a conclusion that it would serve you best to put your faith in God, the Scriptures, and Jesus, which is a solid foundation.